It's time to cook with Susan Beck, and today I'm going to demonstrate how to use the KitchenAid Fresh Prep Slicer and Shredder. I just think this is a great tool when you're going to do a lot of slicing or shredding. If you're just going to do a little bit, I'd stick with your box grater. But today I'm going to make some potato soup, and I'm going to slice up some celery, some carrots, some onions, potatoes, and cheese. It is worth getting this machine out when you're going to shred that much stuff. And it's an easy cleanup. Today's video is just going to be on the slicing and shredding of these ingredients, but I will post a link below to 2 different potato soup recipes if you'd like to take your sliced items and turn them into a delicious soup. As you may have noticed, there are 3 different attachments. There is the large grater, the fine grater, and the slicer. This little tool fits into the top of your KitchenAid mixer. You just screw that in, tighten it up, make sure it's in there snugly, and then in pops one of these attachments. I'll start off by slicing some of the potatoes, but I think I'm going to grate everything for my soup today. Now, my potato needs to fit down in there, so that one fits quite nicely. There are 2 different tube attachments, and something that I have learned is that there is a groove in here. And this one just fits right in, but this one with the groove needs to fit into the groove right here. Otherwise it gets stuck, and I always have a moment of panic thinking I'm never going to get it out of there. I always have, but it's just better to be a little bit more cautious and line it up. This one here will help to press that potato down. All right, let's turn on the mixer. So I now have some beautiful potato slices. One of the things I love about this slicer is that everything is nice and uniform in shape. All right, if you missed that, I should have waited. I'm just going to press that little button and this pops out. I can clean out anything that's left. Be a little bit careful. The blades are sharp. But by having everything uniform in size, it cooks evenly. So that is what I love to use the slicer when I'm making, say, scalloped potatoes and ham. All right, let's switch this over to the large grater, and in that goes. I'm going to put in my potato, lining up that tube again. All right, let's try shredding. All right, I'm going to pop that out again. Got a few more that are caught inside there, and just be cautious with your hands. And now I have all these shredded potatoes. And now for the celery. Into that little tube, I'm going to place 2 stalks of celery. And I'm going to do the finely grating on this. Most of that celery, oops, I got a little bit wrapped around there, is all still inside here, but I do have some finely grated celery. I like my celery a little finer, I guess because of the texture and the kind of woodiness of it and so forth. So in goes all my celery. And now I am going to go and use that larger grater again. That's probably the one I use the most, that and the slicer. So let's try carrots next. I'll give you a closer view. Here come the carrots. Now there's really no need to clean that out in between since I'm going to be putting all of these ingredients into the same soup. So I'm going to throw in some onions next. All right, most of my onion is still in the tube here. So there we have our shredded carrots, celery, onions, and potatoes. Let's try shredding some cheese. Now, because the cheese is going to be the garnish on my soup, I am going to go ahead and rinse these off and clean them up. But it's just so simple to run these underwater and they'll be clean enough to run our cheese through. The directions say that you can put these in the dishwasher. I usually don't. You know, I love Alton Brown. I always loved his shows on the Food Network. And he said, you know, even when knives and blades say that they can go in the dishwasher is still very hard on them. So I always hand wash my blades. All right, off to rinse them, and then we'll shred the cheese. So I'm drying it off a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfectly dry, but I think my cheese will shred better if the tubing is not wet. So I've already dried off my other pieces, refastening that on. I'm going to use that large grater again. Like I said, that tends to be my favorite. The fine one is just maybe a little bit too fine. All right, my cheese is going to have to be cut down a little bit in order to fit in there. Line up that indentation. Put in the cheese. All right, here we go. All right, out flies our cheese. And again, there's going to be some inside my blade here to carefully remove. Sometimes there's, here's a little piece here that we can just break up or cut. But we have a nice bowl of cheddar cheese. This is a hard cheese, which does work better in here, but I got some sharp cheddar to go on top of my soup. So there's a demonstration of this KitchenAid Fresh Prep Slicer and Grater. And if you think you would be interested in one of these, the cost I think is usually below $40. I have seen them even below $30. So it's a relatively inexpensive attachment for your KitchenAid. And if you're somebody who makes a lot of scalloped potatoes, cheesy potatoes, soups, or coleslaw, anything where you're doing a lot of grating, you might find that this is just the right tool for you.